Right. So this is a new thing for me, is I am recording this video. I'm not actually streaming. Part of the reason I'm doing that is I want to learn how to record stuff and eventually play around with it in, with DaVinci. This weekend I am learning more about AI and DaVinci. So we'll see. So it is Sunday the 20th of April 2025. My name is Joe Lost. You are here in the Lost channel with me. I won't be putting up a video because you don't need to see me, nor is there any chat. In fact, look at this. Wait. My headphones are playing up. There we are. Better. Okay. So we're out and about in a Covops. This is one of my alts, and we are going to go into local and start scanning. So what you don't know is that JQP and TSI have already been scanned down by my alts. So, not by my alts, sorry, by my corp mates. So I'm just going to launch these core probes down here. Sisters expanded probe launcher. Launch the Sisters core scanner probes. They're now in space. You can see them all behind me here. And nothing new. Head to the map. Then over here I'll double click on EEA, so that becomes the center. Has that already been found and not bookmarked properly? This is no. Okay. So there we are. Center it by double clicking on here. You move it between vertical and horizontal view. This is the vertical view here, so if I move this up and down, I will move the probes up and down. And if now I'm in the horizontal view, here I will be moving across the horizontal plane. And I try to center it in there. I take a look at the fact that there is a red bubble around here and pay attention to that, so I will increase the size of my scans. I can do this by either going over here and clicking up to until this red bubble here is inside all of them. So it should be in the center. So the red bubble should be in the center to get the best chance of getting the best scan. Now I can also press Alt and increase and decrease the size. So I'm going to leave it at 8. So there we are. So the red bubble is encompassed by all of them. It doesn't have to be in the center. It has to be encompassed within all of them. So if I take a look around it, it doesn't sort of poke out of any of the edges. There we are. And then you just press B, or you click the Analyze button over here. Or if you're like me, you press one of the pedals down by your feet. Woohoo! Exciting stuff. And that's interesting actually, because we get our first sort of twin, if you like. What this means is that 3 of your probes have touched on where this thing is. Now the nice thing about having it like this is that first of all you always choose the one that's furthest away from you relative to where you've scanned it from. So that's the center of the scan there, the box. And clearly this one here is further away. This one being closer, it's not difficult. So I move to the horizontal axis, move it across until it's on top, center it as well, sort of move in a bit so that I get more accurate, and then vertically I move it until it's vertically on top. Now the signal strength here is 13. Normally that would take me down to 2 AU, but in fact because it's a pair, it gives you an opportunity to take it down 1 extra notch. I don't know what the mechanics are, but bottom line is, because you have the additional fact that it's a pair, and it's definitely this one, you can move it down 1 extra notch. So for me, 13, I would normally do it 2 AU. This one, I will do it 1 AU. Ta-da! And I suspect we'll find it straight away. No, I was wrong. There we are. Didn't focus in on this enough. or it's a more difficult scanning level. So if I hover this, no, difficulty 1, never mind, ignore me, I don't know what I'm speaking about clearly. So you'll see now it's at 74.7. So if I lower it, now that I've centered it, I don't want to scan it again at 1%, at 1 AU, sorry, because it will only increase this very marginally. I want to take it down 1 level, so it's even more, it's an even closer scan. So I take it down to 0.5. Now if I've got it correctly on top of it, it would normally double it. Now in the case of 74.7, it can't double it because the maximum is 100%. But I know that I'm going to get it this time. So there we are. Voila. And we scan it. And it appears. And it's a wormhole. Whee! Now I go here to recover active probes. I recover my probes. And I close my system map. Look at that. Beautiful Fortizar, all decked out for Easter. Then I will right click on this. In fact, I won't right click on this. I'm copying it because in my tripwire, which I'm running on the side, I don't need to show you that, I can then input it. So if I remove this, we are. So it's ready now. Now I will head over to it to check out what it is. Now I'm going to warp to 0. And the reason I'm warping to 0 is because you don't actually land on 0. So if you warp to something like a wormhole, sorry. If you warp to a wormhole that you've scanned down from the probe scanner by right-clicking on it and clicking warp to 0, you will not actually land at 0. Because although your scan was very accurate, it won't be quite perfect. As I'm heading towards it, I cloak up. Because I came from my Fortizar, I wasn't cloaked. Now I'm cloaked, and as you can see, I've landed, well, you can't see it, but I've landed about 9,000 meters away. It varies between anything from 4,000 to clearly 9,000. Now this wormhole has a designation. It is a C247. I can tell you that from a C4, which is what I'm living in, a C247 is a C3. In this case, it is the static C3 of the wormhole. We have a static C3 and a static C5. A static wormhole is a wormhole that will always reappear. Now, when I say always reappear, that doesn't mean it always leads to the same system. In fact, invariably, it doesn't. But from a class perspective, the class of wormhole that it will lead to will always be, in this case, a C3. There will always be a C3 wormhole in this wormhole, the one that I'm living in, or a C5 and a C5, not even or a C5 and a C5 in this wormhole as well. So we always have a C3 and a C5 connection. Even if this wormhole, which it will, eventually collapses, then a new one will appear within, at the latest, 2 hours of the collapse of the old one, leading to another wormhole. But it'll always be a class 3 wormholes. There will always be a class 3 and a class 5 wormhole exit from our wormhole. I'm sorry if that's repetitive, but I just feel that way it hammers it home. Now I am going to name it, so I'll tell you what, I'll put it here in the middle so you can see it. So the way we do it is we put dot for some reason. I don't know, that was decided by the gods of my corp many years ago. Then we say what is it? It's a C3. What is the SIG? It's EEA. What is the SIG ID, that is? So the first 3 letters of the SIG ID. And then at the moment, I don't know what the last 3 numbers of the J number of that wormhole that it leads to is. So I'll just put question marks in there. That's how I do it. And then I submit that. And because I want to find out where it leads, I'm going to go through. So we'll do a quick D-scan just to see if anything's around. Nothing's around, so I'll decloak. Turn on my remote warp drive. Not always advisable. If you want to be really cautious, you just move in completely cloaked until you jump through, and then you're on your way. So we've jumped in, and the probe scanner says that we have a lot of SIGs here. Now, if there are this many SIGs, it is likely that it has not yet been worked, so to speak. So what I'm going to do is, that's exciting because there's stuff to do here probably. So I'm going to head to, in my case, either a location away from the wormhole, somewhere where I can hide. I fire out my probes. Now some people say you shouldn't fire out your probes at the wormhole that you came in from because someone could see them and work out where you came from. Yeah, true. So if you want to be super secret, you will go somewhere first, then fire your probes out, and not do like I just did, which is fire them out at the wormhole. Now the way that I do this, and I've said this many times, so people who've watched me live will know this, is that I fire out my probes and then I go to a 16 AU scan. I take a look, I try to place it as centrally as possible, and then I do a broad analysis. What this does is it brings all of the various points closer to where they eventually will be, and allows me to scan them down more quickly as I do the secondary scan. The first place to scan down, which is easy, especially if you stayed at the wormhole, is here. So I will place my center of my scanner probes just at the bottom of this circle where the point is. Lower it to 1 AU and scan it, and it will insta-scan the wormhole where I am, because that's where the wormhole is. So it's very easy that way. As you can see. Now what I haven't done, which I'm going to do now, which I should have done straight away, is to bookmark the wormhole that I came in through. In Phantom Space, we bookmark them with a star or a double star or a star exit, but there has to be a star in it to mark the way home. So if you come into a wormhole and we see a double star as we're going in, we can ignore everything else, or a star exit. We can ignore everything else and go right ahead and head towards that if we want to head home. Follow the stars, so to speak. There we are. And how I do the rest of them is no particular order. I tend to just go around and find the closest one to the last one that I scanned down. Now, you'll remember that I scanned all of these at 16. So I'm going to jump 3 levels down. So I originally scanned them at 16. There's 8, 4, and 2. So it speeds up the process so that I can quickly find these out. Which of course by speaking to all of you here in this recording I can't. But this way I can jump 3 levels straight down to 2. Now sometimes it'll find them immediately. Sometimes I have to go 1 more. It varies. So I either have to do 2 scans or 3 scans. It varies. Others will tell you perhaps different methods. There we are. This one's going to have to be a 3 scan. This is a level 3 difficulty. You see here as I hover over it, it says scanning difficulty level 3. That's already getting harder to scan down. And each of those needs a different level of scanning strength in order to even have a chance to do this. Now, in this ship, I have a scan strength of 130. You can see how that starts at 44 if I have no skills and if I have no modules. But I have skills and modules, as you can see, 56% for the skills, 26% for modules. The ship then adds another 50%. I haven't got implants in. I could have as well, and that would even add more to it. So the total bonus here is 196%, which takes me to a total scan strength value of 130.3. That will scan everything. There is nothing that I should not be able to scan with that strength. It may take me longer in some cases, depending on the level of difficulty, but nothing is unscannable. If you get below, I think it's 106 or 105, you'll find that in certain areas you'll have very high difficulty levels, and you can try all you like, you will not be able to scan something down to a point where you can warp to it. Rarer, but still possible. Anyway, there we go. I center it around. I see it's at 37.3, so I'll take that straight down to 0.5. The reason I take it from 2 to 0.5 is that this will double, this 37.3 will double for every level that I take it down. I think I mentioned that before, but I keep mentioning it. So I know that at 37.3, given the scans that I've done, I can take it down the 2 levels to 0.5 and it will immediately find it. I said that last time. Who knows if that's the truth? We shall see. Ta-da! Forgotten Frontier Recursive. Hang on, it's got a bigger name, I'm sure. Let's find it. There we are. Forgotten Frontier Recursive Depot. This is a combat scanning site, and I shall ignore it. In fact, I think what would be interesting this week before my 24-hour stream would be that I perhaps get some ships into the wormhole so I can do C3 combat sites in a ship that's not going to completely sort of destroy my ISK if I get found. So again, this is a new SIG that I'm going for now. I already did the 16 AU scans, so we take it back up to 2 AU and we're scanning. In this case, it will find 2 of them. 2 for 1. It's a twofer, baby. Which I like. Oh, look at that. Now again, for yourself, think about it. Which one of these is further away? It is that one, I believe, so that will be the correct one from what I saw. So I'll take it down. I'm at 2, it's at 40%. I will take it straight down to 0.5 through the 1. I miss the 1 out and I scan it, and this should find it immediately. And the next one will be easy as well because it is at 69%, so that I will only have to take that to 1 to find it. We found the first one, and the next one. 1. There's no point in taking it too tight if you don't have to. So this is an example of that. I knew that I could take it down from, which I scanned this one down at 2, it got to 69%, so I only need 1. And there we go, I've scanned down 5 things, so I get my daily AIR goal of 5 scanned SIGs. Now again, paying attention to this orb here, this sphere, I can clearly see that I'm not big enough. That will be big enough because it is within all of the bubbles. So now I will analyze it 2, as expected, to be honest. It's a wormhole, and it's a very tight twin. Wow, which one is further away? I don't know. I think it's the bottom one. That is just because it looks like it's further away. It's again at 29.6, which is nearly 30%, so I'll take it straight through to 0.5, especially as it's a twin. And in fact, it encompasses both of them, even if it's not, so it will find this wormhole straight away. Another wormhole. Right. Then I need to go across here. Down here. Again, right now I'm too tight. As in my pattern is too tight for to scan this down at this level. I've only scanned it down at 16 AU. So back to 2 and off we go. Well, that's concerning. Okay, so in this case, I was wrong. Sometimes the ones that are further out are a bit harder, so I'll just take it up to 4 and we'll scan it there. Sometimes that happens. You just have to accept the fact that it's not always going to be perfect. Now we will find it. It probably was just a little bit on the edge. There we go. In fact, I found several of them. So there we are. Now, unfortunately, because this one is now at 8.4% in signal strength, I will have to take it down just to 2, not to 1, in order to ensure that I capture it in this next scan. Takes a bit longer. The sad thing is that that's just all part of scanning. Another relic site. Now this is about, what, 37.6. I think we've reviewed this enough. I can take it straight down to 0.5. And so long as I've got it in the middle, it should find it immediately. We've jumped 2 levels down from 2 to 0.5 in the breadth of the scanners, and there they are. It is another forgotten site, which is another combat site. Yay! Not. I was kind of hoping for a hacking site. I confess that I do like the hacking and huffing sites in Wormhole space, because of course you can just do them solo easily, you don't have to do a lot of work, and you generally don't have to risk very expensive ships. I say that, and then I comment on the fact that I am running a... sorry, sneeze. A 600 million-isk ship to do my hacking in, so yeah. But I don't have to, I could run a much cheaper ship. But this one ensures that I get everything. So again, I've taken this up to... I've looked at the sphere here, I've taken it up to 4 AU, because that then encompasses the ball perfectly inside it. And we do our analysis. Now I think, am I correct in saying that the other 2 are in there as well? At least one of them is. So we'll get 2 results out of this. Ooh, 3 results. Look at that. And the strongest of those results is this one. So it's the wormhole that we were chasing. It's at 27%. That's enough for me to take it down at least to level 1. So again, I'm jumping 2 levels down. And that should result in us getting a scan. Right, apologies, I'm going to have to blow my nose. After sneezing. There we are, we found it. So we'll move on to the next closest one. I like to look at it from the top. What's the next closest? Well, we had a little pair here. Ooh, you see, I should have paid attention to it there. I keep saying this when I'm in live streams as well. So here we have... I'm going to go for this one. We'll see what we get. I will slap it up to 2 AU because I'm not sure of it. Maybe we get it, maybe we don't. I should have paid attention when I did the scan originally and when that appeared. Oh, no, I think I was wrong. It is probably this one, therefore. At 2 AU I should have found it if it was there. I'm going to risk it and take it down to 1 AU, since I believe that this is the right one, and hopefully that should give us a very quick result. I'm risking a bit here. Ta-da! There it is. Nice. Like it. And we take it down. What are we at? 34.8. Wow, I'm going to have to take it 0.25. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make sure that it's in the center. So I really focus in very close so that it's dead center, because I can't go any lower than 0.25. I just want to make sure that we absolutely get it this time so I don't waste my time and have to do another scan. Ta-da! It is an unsecured frontier database. So data sites in wormhole space that are unsecured are combat data sites. That is to say, you're going to have to kill sleepers in order to get to the loot. The loot is useless. It is the sleepers themselves and the looting of their wrecks that brings you the best value. However, you should then also hack the cans, because that will reset the site. If you don't do that, then the site will stick around for another 2 days if nobody loots the cans. Once you've killed all the sleepers, looting the cans, you know, you can just loot them and it's all good. Again, this ring here is different. This means that two probes have found this one, and this is the difference between the sphere and the ring. Is that the pair and the ring, is that the ring here means that 2, I have to check that actually, yeah, but I think it's 2 probes have touched it, and therefore you have to pay attention to the ring. To be honest, it's just like the sphere. Just make sure that the ring is encompassed inside all of them. For me, that's 4 AU here, so I've put it onto 4 AU and I'm working on it that way. And we get another pair. Let's look at it vertically. Yes, it's definitely this one. Move across. I hope you're getting the gist of it now as you watch this. We'll slap it straight down to 1 AU and scan it. Is that going to be enough even? 19, so 20, 40, 80. I'm actually going to take it to 0.5 and risk that because I'm not sure that 2 levels is going to be enough. Now there's a bit of a risk here that we won't find it because the signal is only at 19.5. Oh no, we did. There we are. It is one of my most hated sites, the Deep Flow Rift. I have never done them, which is why I hate them. It's probably pointless me hating them. I just don't like them because they're sort of a waste of space for me because I don't do them. I think there are those who like them. I should actually go and read up on it and find out what the Deep Flow Rift is and how to do it. And even bring some ships into the Wormhole this week so that, again, for the 24 hours that I do, I can potentially do some of these Deep Flow Rifts. That would be a good idea. So again, we started 2 AU on this one. It's a new SIG that we found. Sorry about the sniffing. That's what happens when you sneeze. Okay, so we found it. Now you'll notice that it still has quite a big sphere. And because the sphere here is here, I'm not going to... If I take it down to 1, you're going to have bits that are poking outside. And I'm just going to have to accept that I need to scan it once again at 2 AU, unfortunately. If I want to definitely find it. Of course, I could find it within the 1, potentially, because it's somewhere within that sphere. In this case, I think even I might have. Oh, no. No, it's down at the bottom, so I definitely needed the 2 AU. And we're moving down. By now, anybody who's scanning or knows how to scan is going, okay, this is dull, Joe. We've done this before. Don't watch it any further. There's going to be a lot of scanning, and then I'm going to do some activity within the wormhole itself. Ta-da! So you'll notice that this is a data site that does not start with the word unsecured. That means that this is one of the sites that I really like. This is a site that I'm going to hack later unless someone comes in before me. On that note, over here, please look over here. I'm going to do a D-scan. Those are my core scanner probes. It looks like I am alone in the system still, which is great. So that'll give me an opportunity potentially to do something within this before someone gets here. Now, if I was in a hurry, I would go back home, or I would get Joe out here and start hacking this. I'm not going to be in a hurry. I'm just going to do all of this scanning and get it done. Again, this one has a circle. I'm going to put the probes so that the circle is within the confines of all of the probes. That is a 2 AU at the moment, which is, as I said from earlier, what I expected. Ooh, a gas site. And so look over 2 here. Now, this one's definitely further away from the gas site perspective. And yes, this is further away. So both of the top ones are further away. That's good. I will remember that. There you go. That's how you have to pay attention to it. Ooh, no. No, sorry. This one. It's not the top ones. It's the 2 that are furthest, further away from it on a horizontal axis, not a vertical axis. We are going to take this down to 1 because it starts at 52.8, which doubled is over 100, so that should find it immediately. Yay! I can't remember what the number was on this one, but we're going to go over to it. And up we go. And I'm going to do that at a half. Again, a bit of a risk, but I think it's a reasonable risk. It was a reasonable risk, and it is a ruined Serpentis monument site. Again, a hacking site which does not have sleepers in it. I will be able to go into this and hack it. So here you have the Central Blood Radar Sparking Transmitter, a data site, and there you have the ruined Serpentis monument site, a relic site. In wormhole space, I would always favor going first to a ruin site before going to a data site, because it will more likely yield a better hacking result in terms of ISK that I will make out of the cans. So there we are. We'll move this up. And we start again at 2 AU. Normally I'd do this a bit faster, but I'm working through it slowly because of this, because I'm doing this as a recording. Okay, we found lots of things here. First thing we found is a wormhole. That one we're going to be able to do immediately. Let's have a look at the other one. 59%, that's easy. What's this one? 23. I'll be able to take that down to 0.5 and probably find it immediately as well. We'll start with the wormhole. It's nice and easy. The last one, this one here, is a relic site, which is great. Let's hope that it's a hackable site. Ta-da! And this is definitely this one. Even if I could get the data site here faster, since this one's right here and I know I can get it, I will slap it down to 0.25 and hopefully get it in one go. That'll be nice and easy. Then we've just got 2 more. Yay! And it's another hacking site, so that we've got at least 3 hacking sites in here. Let's see if this one is as well. So this one, I think 0.5 if I remember correctly. Yes, 0.5 definitely. Ta-da! Another hacking site. That's great. Again, I talk about the ruin sites as being better than the data sites. Sometimes the data sites can be quite surprising and give you a massive yield, and you know, they have a surprise element. That's the case for all hacking sites. You can have a certain expectation, and then suddenly one will blow you out of the water with the results. Okay, the further away one, definitely. Going here, heading down, and we are at 24.6. Given that it's a twin, I'm going to risk it straight down to 0.5 from 2 AU. And hopefully we'll find it. We did! And it is another ruin, so that's fantastic. I'm very happy about that. Now I take in my probes as quickly as possible so that people don't notice them if they happen to be scanning, like I'm doing right now. There we are. Quickly copy all of these. So all copy. I go to my map. I give this a name. Sorry, you don't see this bit. There we are. I paste all of the SIGs in there, and which one is the exit? It is BXS. BXS, I set that as a return in my map. There are 3 exit wormholes here. One of them is going to be a low-sec exit. Low-sec exit, because I can see that this system has a static low-sec. Remember what we said about statics? This particular wormhole, a C3, comes with a static low-sec. That means it will always have a connection to low-sec somewhere. Right, I am going to save all of these locations that I've scanned down. It's a bit tedious, but well worth it. Forgotten recursive. To be honest, I don't have to put in all of the forgottens and the unsecures. I do it just for good order, if you like. The ones I really want are these ruins, these relic sites, and I didn't actually look what is the gas site? Gas. There was a gas site, there it is. A minor perimeter reservoir. Yeah, that is not very interesting pretty well any... That's not true. I think it's the miner the smallest. I've got to be really careful here. I should know this off the top of my head. But since I use third-party tools to help me out, I don't keep this all in my head. The miner is the second smallest gas site. It would yield 12,000 C72 and 12,000 C70. To give you an idea of what that means, let's have a look. So, C72 at the moment is the cheapest of the gas at 4,800 ISK per cubic meter. And C70 would be worth it at 8,572 per cubic meter. That would be worth huffing if I were to be huffing it. Maybe I'll do that later, we'll see. Right, I'm going to stop the recording here and then start recording again. I need to go for a bio break. That's going to be the beauty of using DaVinci. We'll see.